Call to order the regular city commission meeting for December 1st, 2020 at 7:01 p.m. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky.
Here.
Commissioner Hudak.
Here.
Commissioner Preston.
Here.
Vice Mayor Cortez.
Here.
Mayor Gantz.
Here. If we can have a moment of silence, also our pledge of allegiance for those of us on the dais, because it's awkward with the video for us to stand. Basically, everybody's getting to see our belts, and that's probably not a good idea. So we're going to stay seated. But if we'd have a moment of silence in our pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance to our flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we can have approval of the city commission meeting minutes for the regular city commission meeting of November 10th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Parnas, second by Commissioner Hudak. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Our city board meeting minutes, our planning and zoning board meeting minutes from October 1st, 2020. Community redevelopment agency meeting minutes from August 11th and August 25th, 2020. The non-uniform employees retirement committee meeting minutes from July 14th and September 8th of 2020. The cultural committee meeting minutes from October 19th, 2020. The Hillsborough Inlet District meeting minutes from October 19th, 2020.
So moved. Right.
Motion by the Vice Mayor, seconded by Commissioner Hudak. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. Approval of our city commission agenda for December 1st, 2020.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Parnas, second by Commissioner Preston. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Madam Clerk, can you tell everyone about the Zoom meeting?
For those participating via Zoom video, simply hover your mouse over the participants tab, and once the participants tab appears, click raise hand on the right of the screen. You will be signified by your name, your profile name, by the mayor, and you'll be given 3 minutes to speak, with the opportunity to speak for 1 additional minute. Anyone who has called in via mobile device or webinar, dial *9 on your phone and will be recognized by the last 3 digits of your phone number. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are honored tonight, and actually, Commissioner Drosky, since you sponsored this, I'll let you do the introductions for our representative who's here tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm shocked. I'm the only one that thought of this, or at least thought of it first. But we have a great friend in Chip LaMarca, who's our state representative. He's been a great friend to the city of Deerfield Beach, and we are very fortunate to have him represent us along with other eastern coastal cities in Broward County. And so I thought it was only appropriate after his re-election and him going back to Tallahassee that he just speak to us tonight regarding what he sees as his priorities for the upcoming 2021 Florida legislative session.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, Mayor, and commissioners that are in the chambers. I want to first thank those who I've had the opportunity to work with over the last really 10 years going into the next session here, formerly as your county commissioner and now as a state representative. Appreciate the invitation, Commissioner Drosky. And we had a little bit of a conversation. What I'd like to do after I kind of give you a little bit of what my thoughts are to this year, not just my priorities, but what's going to happen in Tallahassee. Would love to have you take a moment, and if you want to get them to me through email or verbally tonight, some of your priorities, because that's important. I don't know all the cities and what's most important, but I certainly know Deerfield pretty well. I filed my first bill in this session, which is called e-Fairness Remote Sales Tax. And what that bill does, it doesn't tax anything additional, but a lot of the larger companies, we'll use Amazon as an example, sometimes does and sometimes does not, collect sales tax. And what that really does is it's not an option. People are supposed to still pay their sales tax. But what that does is it hurts small businesses like one of your commissioners just started a brick and mortar business, and a lot of the businesses that we try to keep afloat during the pandemic, like small businesses here in Broward County. And I'll get more in detail later on as that gets moving. But that's an area that the state of Florida could probably lower corporate tax on commercial leases, as well as some other areas during a time like this. So that's kind of the first bill we filed. A couple of years ago, I filed a bill on vacation rentals. I know that those continue to be an issue in a lot of our eastern communities and just Broward in general. So we'll be looking at that. I know that's an issue. Continued beach funding. Last year, we were finally put into recurring funds that $50 million will be put into the state of Florida beach program. And I'm hoping that at some point in time here, just segment one, which is Deerfield Beach, as well as Hillsborough, will have that funding and continue to work on that issue with you all. And then really the environmental issues that are important to all of us, whether it's septic to sewer or clean water or certain water projects, we'll be working on a lot. And then really the biggest thing is to maintain, probably the most important thing this year, and I'll tell you why it's going to be difficult, is to maintain our education budget. Because look, if our kids aren't learning, and especially in these difficult times, whether it's online or in school, excuse me, and sometimes parents don't have the time or the ability to keep the kids going at the same rate the teacher would, we want to make sure that we have those options and that resource for our kids, and we maintain our education budget. And then finally, I would say that because of COVID-19 and the coronavirus, we're going to be facing a roughly $5.4 billion with a B dollar hole over the next 2 years. It's separated over 2 sessions, but ultimately, what is on the positive front, and I don't want to bring you down, but I'll bring it a little bit, then we'll bring you back up, because on a positive front, we're really seeing better revenues than expected. From the standpoint of where we're really hurting, clearly the hospitality industry, the cruise industry, our friends up in Orlando, obviously less revenue coming into the state with Disney World, but the fact is a lot of the other areas have brought themselves up with the help of local, state, and federal government funding, and the economy is getting better. At Broward County's number is around 6.5% or 6.8%. The state's at about 6%. Which is not as good as we were back in February, but considering we've been in a global pandemic, not as bad as it could be. And certainly we'll want to keep pushing that up. So with that being said, my goal is to, use the 2 ears I have and the one mouth and listen more than I talk. So as we get moving through committee weeks, I'd love to hear what's important to all the commissioners and the mayor and the city of Deerfield Beach. And I'll end with this. The session this year, I don't know if there'll be a Broward Days or Deerfield Beach will have the time or opportunity to come up. We haven't been told whether we'll have meetings in the Capitol or not, but I know we'll have committee weeks starting the second week in January. Right now, believe it or not, we're going through, all the legislators are going to online legislator university. So we're learning about different committees. We have not got our committee assignments yet. So I'll know better, where I sit to be able to help the city of Deerfield Beach as I get committee assignments. But we'll have 5 committee weeks in January and February, and then we'll roll right into session on March 2nd, and we'll be up there for 8 weeks, 8 weeks straight. And typically, so you all are aware, I try to come home on the weekends to see my family, and why that's important is if we need to meet on a Friday or a Saturday, I'll make myself available. So that's kind of the long and short of it. Again, I appreciate, those that were willing to kind of help make sure that I can go back to Tallahassee and retain this position and be a voice, not only for Deerfield Beach, but, it is important that I say it. A voice in the majority is going to do you a lot better in Deerfield Beach than a voice on the other side. And you have one of both. And Representative Williams and myself work very well together. She has been a stalwart for Deerfield Beach, even though she's not on this call. I look forward to working with her on some issues that can be helpful as well, and helping her if there's any place that I can be of assistance with the committees I'm on. So with that being said, Commissioner Drosky and Mayor and Commissioners, I appreciate your time. If there's any questions, I'm happy to try to field some of those now.
Representative, thank you so much for all you do for us. We really appreciate it. We're really glad you're up there. Commissioner, do we have any questions or comments? Don't see any hands raised. Representative LaMarca, thank you so much.
Mayor, thank you. And commissioners, have a great evening. And thanks for what you do for the city of Deerfield Beach.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
You as well.
Our next item that we have up is in recognition for another outstanding event that we had here in the city of Deerfield Beach. The city of Deerfield Beach hosted its second sold-out Haunted Arboretum event at Constitution Park on Friday, October 30th. The Haunted Arboretum brought together 200 residents of all ages to come out and celebrate the season. It took 3 days to transform the Arboretum into a spooky walk. Guests were led by their own private guide through twists and turns and even through hidden passages made of trees with scare actors. There were 28 teen volunteers from Deerfield Beach, Monarch, and Terravella High School who helped make the event safe and successful. These volunteers jumped at the opportunity to help bring the Haunted Arboretum into full swing with costumes, music, and handheld props. Their efforts enhanced the event and gave our guests a very good scare. In addition, over 15 staff members worked tirelessly on this event to ensure it is done safely and provide fun and entertainment to community. These volunteers and staff went above and beyond to ensure every attendee had a memorable time. So please join us in recognizing these volunteers and staff for their dedication to this year's sold-out Haunted Arboretum. It's not easy to do events like this in this time of COVID, and they did an outstanding job. The feedback we got has been tremendous, and we cannot thank them enough. Their creativity, their hard work to create such a successful event during these unusual times was really seen by everybody who was in attendance, and we really look forward to next year working with them. It's a lengthy list of names, but they're all deserving, so I would like to go ahead and announce each one of their names. Our staff members: Bridget Hall, Corby Graham, Cynthia Soretta, Tagana Goodrum, Matt Kelly, Leandro Barbosa, Luz DeRosini, Rohini Mirage, Mary Davis, Talisa Pimentel, Sid Reed, Steve Scafaria, Dale Williams, Del Trezano, and Baroni Baker, Jessica Alvarez, Alexia Abramides, Vincent Caputo, Anderson Carrillo, Agsa Erzmete, Dominic Farah, Jaden Faulkner, Brianna Fisher, Zachariah Gargam, Dasha Graham, Abigail Humes, Catherine Humes, Kelly Joseph, Annalise Kistner, Lauren Mathesian, Grace Moore, Samuel Moore, Amanda Namer, Melissa Namer, Ada Nelson, Kristen Nicholas, Lucas Perea, Hannah Rodriguez, Caitlin Scott, Stella Skichnikova, Jonathan Valverde, Juliet Zapata, Liz Ricci, and Kirsten Smith. Thank you so very, very much. We have certificates for each of you. I'm going to leave them due to COVID up with our city clerk, so please come on up and collect them. And we really appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you so much. And you're welcome to say a few words at the podium if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Oh.
Giving Adele a mic's always scary, we know.
I just really want to thank the mayor and the commissioners for recognizing the hard work of the team. They have been at all of our events that typically we put on out of Constitution Park, and it couldn't possibly occur without them. And the Key Club members, Carrie, over at Kiwanis, they are always very supportive, and it's been a very interesting journey. But again, the kids jumped at it, and it was successful. And I just really appreciate you guys recognizing them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adele. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Mr. City Manager, I'm going to let you do the honors in recognizing a couple of our very special employees.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, David Santucci, City Manager. Tonight I have the sad but distinct honor of recognizing two employees. The first being Miss Vicky Placid Picard. So we have a certificate of recognition for Ms. Placid Picard, the Director of Legislative and Community Affairs, for her 5 years of dedicated service to the city. Some of Ms. Placid Picard's accomplishments over the years have been the establishment of the Reading Pals and the Tutor Mate programs to increase the engagement between the city and our elementary schools while supporting literacy in the classroom. She has been the liaison to the city's Educational Advisory Board. She has built partnerships with the South Florida Land Trust and Habitat for Humanity to increase affordable housing within the city. She's also coordinated all of our Feeding South Florida food distribution events that we have held during COVID-19 pandemic to help the community. Additionally, she has been responsible for the award of millions of dollars in federal and state grants for the city. Above all this, Ms. Placid Picard's greatest accomplishments have been her excellent leadership and great mentoring that she has exhibited and given to the community and legislative community affairs staff. Please join me in wishing Ms. Placid Picard all the best in her future endeavors. Next, I would like to recognize Ms. Nicole Giordano. Nicole Giordano, our Program and Innovation Manager, has been with the city and provided dedicated service for over 9 years. The accomplishments of Ms. Giordano during her tenure with the city and in her current role was the creation of the city's first online budgeting transparency portal. She managed the performance of the city's 2017 through 2021 strategic plan. She has been a key contributor in the development of the city's annual budget for many years. She's also mentored several staff and in the office of the city manager. She has assisted countless number of residents and business owners on a variety of issues as they come into the city manager's office. Additionally, she has led many innovation projects here in the city, like iLobby, that automated the City Hall's visitor registration process. Most importantly, Ms. Giordano has done everything with a can-do attitude, a smile on her face, and with great compassion. Please join me in wishing Ms. Giordano all the best on her future endeavors.
I just want to add, and I've already embarrassed Vicki enough at our last meeting and thanking her for all her incredible hard work, but to lose Nicole also is a tremendous loss for the city of Deerfield Beach. To have worked with her now for 9 years, and she has really been the rock for many of us who served up here on the dais. Her professionalism with both of these ladies has been outstanding, and I think they're some of the finest employees we've ever had to work here. It's going to be hard to fill their shoes. They will be deeply missed, but I always know they'll be a part of the city of Deerfield Beach. So I wish them both all the best, always. Your city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item number 5 on the agenda is the first quasi-judicial item. It's an application number 11-B2-111, a revision 3. It's a major site plan application from Aldi Florida LLC, seeking approval to expand the existing Aldi supermarket from 15,945 square feet to 17,568 square feet, with associated site and parking lot improvements to terminal aisles, parking spaces, and sidewalks. I believe we have an applicant's representative here to speak on this item.
If you come up and introduce yourself, your name and the address for the record, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Kevin Betticourt from Johnson Engineering, 6300 Northwest 31st Avenue. I'm with Johnson Engineering. I represent Aldi. And the project, as you see in front of you, is the existing Aldi. That the address is 747 South Federal Highway. It's located just opposite of Federal Highway, just south of Southeast 7th Street. Sorry? Okay, next line, please. So this is an area of the site. As you can see, the application is for an overall site plan for both the parcel A and parcel B. Parcel B is an existing 6,300 square foot multi-tenant building. I believe the tenants, there's two restaurants there now. I can't recall what the third tenant is. But parcel A is what we're here for. It's the modification of the Aldi building. It's an existing 15,945 square foot Aldi supermarket. The building expansion is about 1,600 square feet, just a little bit over. And that is going to be going just on the east side of the building. You see there's some parking spaces in the striped area. That's where the bump outs are going to go, and you'll see more in the proposed site plan on the next slide. So that's an overlay with the proposed addition over the aerial. As I previously mentioned, it's a 1,623 square foot building addition, and it's going to total 17,568 square feet. As part of these improvements, they're also going to be doing a facelift to the exterior of the building. Next one. And I just want to add that parcel B is just going to remain unaltered and unaffected by these changes. Next slide, please. So this is the site plan with a little more detail. As you can see there, shows the bump out, goes out this to the parking area. We're going to do some parking, but overall, the site is still in compliance with the full parking requirements, ADA spaces, and stuff. Next slide, please. And this is a close-up of just to show you the area that's being bumped out. Next slide, please. And the next slide is the east elevation. Next slide, please. There's the east elevation of what the proposed elevation is going to be. And on the next slide, please. That's the south elevation. So the east elevation is the elevation that's facing Federal Highway. South elevation is facing the parking lot that's service hall. Next slide, please. So this is just a this is the landscape plan. This shows a lot of detail, but there are additional plantings, all the hexagonal callouts, all the proposed plantings, and everything was either be mitigated, replaced, or additional plantings to comply with city code. Next slide, please. So the second application that we're here before you tonight is for a sign variance.
Excuse me, sir, if you're gonna go to the next item, I see you've done the presentation ago, I just want to read the title into the record. Also, I should have asked before, I know probably staff has explained this, you do have a right to a more formal quasi-judicial hearing for these items. You could choose to waive that right, or you could do it more formal. You may have indicated that you wanted to waive, but I just need to get that on the record.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, great. Oh, and if you can, just, we're getting some comments back. If you could speak up going forward, it's a little difficult to hear you on the Zoom, in the mic. So the next item number 6, that the applicant is speaking to is a resolution considering a sign variance for Aldi Supermarket, case number 778, to permit a second building sign on the south elevation, not facing a street, in lieu of the one building sign per street frontage permitted by code for the Aldi Supermarket located at 747 South Furter Highway, Deerfield Beach, Florida. This is a sign variance, so it does require a 4/5 vote. He's presenting these together, but we will need separate votes on items 5 and 6.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. So as previously mentioned, this application is for a sign variance. Back in 2013, for the original application for the Aldi, there were 3 sign variances that were approved for this building. One was to have a additional sign, which is identified as sign A. This is the proposed elevation, just to show you the location. It's a sign A, which is the Aldi logo. This was approved at a 46 square foot sign. And there was two other sign variances that were approved, where it was basically letters that said food market on each facade. So there's two signs on both the east and the south facade. One on the east side was allowed by right, with one additional sign on the east, and on the south side, both of those were additional that were approved through variances. So the existing sign with the Aldi logo is a backlit cabinet sign, totaling 46 square feet. And the additional food market sign, that's, I believe was 21 square feet. So the 21 square feet food sign is no longer there, it was removed. There was some services that Aldi, when they started doing the remarketing, they cut back and they just removed the sign for the food market. But the two 46 square feet on both facades are still there today. So this proposed application is that part of this facelift that's going on in the south and the east, they want to increase their sign to 75 square feet. So the one on the east is allowed by right. I believe the maximum square footage is 100 square feet. So they're still going to be below that. But since the original approval for the variance application on the south side was restricted to 46 feet, we're here before you today to apply for the increase in sign to 75 square feet. So the reason this was approved and requested back in 2013 was because there's an additional entrance, an additional storefront sort of on the south side, because the entrance is coming from the south side, and additional parking, which is the reason why they requested this sign variances and was approved by them. Next slide, please. So this is the existing Aldi building. As you can see, those are the two 46 square foot signs that were approved. Next slide, please. And these are the proposed elevations should this sign variance be approved. So both of those signs are 75 square feet each. And the reason for the larger sign is that the tower increased a little bit. I believe it's about 2 feet in height, from maybe 25 feet to 27 feet. And it was just a larger sign to have it squared, and so it just looks nice. And the south elevation, the variance is to increase the sign area to 75 square feet, so that they both can match and look appropriate from the right of way, because both elevations are visible from the right of way and federal line. Next slide, please. This is the proposed elevation should the variance not be approved. Aldi still allowed the 46 square foot sign on the south side and the 75 square foot sign on the east side. So back in September, this application was came before the CAB Architectural Board, and they agreed with our proposal that both sides should match, as both are visible from the right of way. And we hope to have a favorable decision today.
Thank you. Commission, you have any comments? Push a button. So, Vice Mayor, go right ahead.
Generally, for a variance, would you explain to us the hardship that you need a 75-foot sign?
Okay, so the hardship was originally for the sign on the south side, have two signs. That was originally approved at 46 square feet. The hardship we're requesting today is to increase the sign to match the increase that we are doing on the east side. That way both are uniform, and it just looks, they just match both the east and the south side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Drowsky?
Thank you, Mayor. this is something that I've tussled with the city attorney about in the last couple weeks, because this is something that should be approved. If you were to, I mean, if you look at the side, excuse me, the picture they showed us with the small sign on the large building, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you don't want that small sign on that large building, and so they have to request the variance. And so, does it meet the definition of our variance? I mean, I appreciate the applicant going through and putting the presentation together and putting the bullet points together. I believe there were 6 of them or 7 of them that they put together. So, I mean, most applicants come in here and don't even try to describe the hardship. There you go. That's the slide there. And this applicant has, made a good faith effort to do that. I tried to work with the city attorney to possibly come up with some language to change our code or to make our code more, more friendly, because this is something that absolutely should be granted, in my opinion, as a variance. Does it meet the letter of the law of our variance code and what the criteria and what the hardship is? That's for us to decide. But I think the applicant has done a fair job of putting forth the hardship and why the additional square footage is needed for this sign at this particular location. But I did struggle with it, and I did want to bring that out. And there's no easy fix to our code, going forward. There's another variance that we have tonight that I struggled with as well. But I think the applicant, based upon that slide, has made the showing for the variance.
Commissioner Hudak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to agree with Commissioner Drosky as well. Aldi is increasing the size of their store, so they're helping our residents to provide us with a lot more products. By having the 46 sign and the 75-foot sign, it's aesthetically not pleasing at all. And Aldi's is a professional organization. We are a great city, and to have 2 different signs like that is just it's not reflective of this city and our standards. So I am in support of this as well, so that we can, Aldi's has been a great partner to the city. They provide a tremendous service for our residents, and aesthetically, it's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Preston?
I also agree with Commissioner Drosky and Commissioner Hudak as well. I actually drove over and just kind of, just to take a look. And I know it doesn't technically meet the letter of the law as it relates to code, but there's another consideration. The consideration is we're in the midst of a very tough time for businesses in our nation. But the city of Deerfield Beach is included in our nation. And it's important that we do all that we can to help the businesses survive. If giving them this variance is going to help the business, help them stay in business, we have to consider that. We're in very challenging times right now, and I think that we need to be as business friendly as we possibly can. Additionally, I drove all the districts, and I looked at a lot of the businesses that were with the city of Deerfield pre-COVID, and then you look at them now. So many businesses have gone under. If this is something that we can do to help a business that is in our city thrive, grow, then I just feel that we ought to do it. And to reiterate, along with Commissioner Todd Drosky and Commissioner Mike Hudak, I also lend my support to this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on this item? Anyone here in the chambers? Anyone online? Clerk, is anyone written in on this item?
No, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Hudak, I see you have your hand raised. I'll just say this, I think the hardship, I'll disagree with Commissioner Preston, though I agree with in general with everybody's saying. This is not something that I feel is gonna help your business tremendously, the size of the sign. Where the hardship falls, it's an aesthetic hardship. But the one we're hurting the most is not so much this business, but we're hurting the city of Deerfield Beach from an appearance standpoint. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Common sense has to step in on some of these things, and I think that's where it needs to be applied here. And I think the hardship is one that falls on the city of Deerfield Beach for having something that would just, from an aesthetic standpoint, not make any sense to me. So I would support this as well. Commissioner Hudak?
Make a motion to approve.
Second,
We have a motion from Commissioner Hudak, second by Vice Mayor Parnas. These are two sections here, Mr. Soroka, so this would be an approval.
This would be item number 5, Commissioner Hudak, the site plan application submitted by Aldi that you made the motion on. Is that correct?
On both items. But
Okay, we have to do separate votes.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And the second, confirmation of the second?
Yes, most of the second item.
No, I meant from, I think. it was
Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas,
Yes,
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Okay, and item number 6 was the Aldi sign variance that you discussed tonight. Just want to make sure, Mayor, just in case, you may want to just open it to the public on this one, in case they
Sure.
wanted to speak as to the
Is
variance.
there anyone from the public here to comment on this sign variance? Not seeing anybody coming forward, I'll close it to the public. Not seeing anybody online. Commissioner Hudak?
Motion to approve.
second,
Motion by Commissioner Hudak, second by Vice Mayor Parnas. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
yes,
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Item number 7 is,
Commissioner Drosky, you have your hand raised. Is there a reason?
I did, only to let you know that it's very difficult for me to hear, especially the speakers at the podium. So if they could talk slower and more clear, that would be beneficial for me being remote.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Soroka.
no problem. Item number 7 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, considering a major site plan from Radiant Living Worship Center, Inc. to construct a 4,992 square foot church located at 321, 331, and 341 Northeast First Avenue within the RS5 residence single family zoning district, application number 20-RS51, approving a conditional use application to permit a church within the RS5 residence single family zoning district, case number 2521, approving a variance from the code requirement to construct a 6-foot concrete wall when a non-residential use is located within a residential zone, and a variance from the code requirement to provide curb, gutter, and drainage improvements to the public right-of-way, case numbers 2532 and 2533, providing for conflict severability and an effective date. And this item does require a 4/5 vote of the City Commission to pass.
I just want to say that for the record, it says that it's a 3/5 vote requested on this for this item. If you look at the back of the material.
Okay, well, it should say 4/5, and the updated agenda says 4.
it does.
That I have says.
I'm looking at what's on here.
I'll understand,
Thank you.
but it is a 4/5 requirement. Thank you. And I don't know if you heard the prior speaker, if you could just indicate on the record after you state your name and address for the record, whether you waive formal quasi-judicial hearing or not. And if you need an explanation on that, let me know.
I'm Juliet Schiff. My address is 4800 T-Rex Avenue, Boca Raton, Florida, and I waive quasi-judicial.
Thank you.
The church was founded in 2004 by, can you keep the first slide up, please? Thank you. The church was founded in 2004 by Bishop Anthony T. Pelt, who's with us in the audience tonight, and First Lady Millicent Pelt. Currently, services are held at the Deerfield Park Elementary School. The congregation has 250 members. Next slide, please. The proposed one-story, 4,992 square foot new church building will be built on a vacant 20,688 square foot lot with overflow parking 140 feet to the north on a 14,000 square foot lot. The combination of the two lots, 150 foot frontage of the church lot plus 70 foot frontage of the parking lot meets the conditional use requirement of 200 feet of street frontage required in the code. Next slide will show you a graphic of the length of both of the lots. So you can see that the church lot is south of the overflow lot, and when you combine the two lots, there's 140 feet of space between the lots, and together they exceed the 200 foot frontage requirement. Next slide, please. The parking will be on site and overflow parking will be on the site 2 lots to the north. That'll be a grass lot that will be heavily landscaped. 52 parking spaces are provided, including ADA spaces, and 40 spaces are required by code. So this slide shows you the church lot and the parking. And the next slide will show you the parking on the, next slide please, the parking on the grass lot, which is 140 feet to the north. Next slide, please. This is the floor plan that shows you that the use of the space will have a sanctuary, offices, classroom, a multi-purpose room, and support areas. Next slide, please. The proposed paint colors meet the guidelines of the Pioneer Grove zoning district. Next slide, please. This is the church lot. Extensive landscaping is proposed for both lots. Next slide, please. This is the overflow parking lot that also has extensive landscaping provided, which is a combination of trees and a 7-foot high hedge that'll be maintained around the perimeter. Next slide, please. This is an aerial view that shows you the landscaping proposed for the church lot. I want to point out that on May 4th of 2010, the City Commission did approve the project for a larger building on the same site. The new building will require less parking and meets the code requirements of the City of Deerfield Beach. Next slide, please. This is a rendering of the front facade of the building, including the proposed landscaping. We're requesting 2 variances. The first variance is for walls and fences. Next slide, please. Okay, the property is in a residential district, and we believe that there is a hardship because we want to encourage the community to be able to walk to and from the church, and many people in residential districts will walk across the property and not want to have a 6-foot high concrete wall as a barrier separating the church from its neighbors and from the congregation that it serves. Next slide, please. These are existing conditions. You can see that there's a natural buffer on 2 sides of the property. Next slide, please. These are the conditions of the auxiliary parking lot. Next slide, please. Okay. On 3 sides, we are providing a continuous landscape buffer. If you have particular questions about the landscaping, our landscape architect is also with us tonight. You can address those. So the landscaping that's proposed will serve as a beautiful buffer in lieu of the concrete wall that's mentioned in the code. It also will have, next slide, please, a 7-foot-high hedge that will meet the purpose and intent of the wall requirements. Next slide, please. This is an elevation showing you the church in the background and at maturity, the height of the proposed trees and hedge. The hedge will be maintained at 7 feet high. The code requires it to be maintained between 6 and 8 feet high, and it is continuous around 3 sides of the property. The next variance, next slide, please, that we're requesting relief from is curbs, gutters, and drainage. When the project was originally approved, the code was different, and there's been some changes to the code. On the west side of Northeast First Avenue, there is a continuous 5-foot pedestrian sidewalk all along the avenue, and it also occurs on the east side. Next slide, please. So you can see the sidewalk is continuous, it's in good condition, it's maintained. And if we were to have to provide a new raised sidewalk, curb and gutter, we would be the only parcels on the Northeast First Avenue on the west side of the street that would have that condition. So that could cause tripping hazards, aesthetically unpleasing conditions, and nonconformity all along the street. All of the occupied properties on Northeast First Avenue do not have raised sidewalks, curbs, gutters, and exfiltration trenches currently. For this project, the intensity of the use is minimal, since it is a small, less than 5,000 square foot, 1-story church building, and not a large-scale, high-intensity development such that is being built on the northeast side of First Avenue. In an effort to mitigate, we are proposing, next slide, please, a dedicated 10-foot public access easement within the same location. This is provided for the purpose of future development on the west side of Northeast First Avenue so that all the sidewalks, curbs, and gutters will be continuous in the event that that is installed by the city at a future date. Could you bring it back to slide 11, please? Thank you. The proposed church is designed, located, and planned to enhance the public health, safety, welfare, and convenience of its existing 250 membership that is in good standing within the residential community. The neighborhood will be improved by the replacement of the 4 vacant lots with the new church landscaping and off-site parking. There is sidewalk access for members who walk to church. The new building and site development proposed for Radiant Living Worship Center will enhance the mission of the church and the community in the surrounding area. The new building design is aesthetically pleasing and complements the neighborhood in scale, proportion, and finishes. The design meets the zoning requirements for the city of Deerfield Beach. We respectfully request that you grant site plan approval for the new church and the variances that are set forth before you.
Thank you. Commissioner, you have any comments before we open to the public? Commissioner Hudak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of questions. The first question is with regards to this, this hedge and these trees. You stated that at maturity, the hedge is going to be 7 foot, and I'm not sure how tall the trees are going to be. How tall are they going to be at planting?
Okay, can I defer that question to Louis Glahos, our landscape architect?
Yes, of
Thank you.
course.
Just your name and address.
Lou Bartels, Majestic Views, Landscape Architects, 4711 Cypress Drive. Boynton Beach. Upon planting, the trees will be 16 feet overall. They're 100% native, and the existing trees on the north and west side of the property are way beyond that. They're in the 30 feet. Okay, so there's existing trees with those. The hedge will be planted between 3 and 4 feet overall upon planting. We said 3 to 7 gallon, but more than likely it'll be 7 gallon. And we talked to staff on that, you know, to reach at least a minimum of 3 feet, but we're shooting for 4 foot, 3, 4 foot.
And how long will it take for this hedge to reach?
You get
maturity?
6 feet probably within a year. It's a Ecclesia rosea hedge. It's planted everywhere. It's a nice thick hedge. It can grow up to 8 feet, where in the future we'll maintain at 7. It'll be higher than a 6-foot wall. And it also has a width of approximately 4 feet.
Thank you. I have one more question.
Go right ahead.
My question is with regard to the drainage. So we have a serious flooding problem here in Deerfield Beach in certain areas. I do not know this specific area if it has a tendency to flood. But what we're doing now is we're taking a vacant piece of property that, that stormwater drains into, and now we're turning it into a church and also a parking lot. So what enhancements are you proposing to ensure that that area drains properly? Because I see that you don't want to do anything with regards to the sidewalks, but I'm concerned about flooding in that area.
So we did hire a civil engineer that's on board with the project. She's not with us tonight. So I'll do my best as an architect to cover that topic. We have mitigated the stormwater so that it'll be managed on site. There won't be any runoff to the adjacent properties or to the street.
Can I interject?
Yes.
Also, the parking lot is basically going to be grass pavers, so that won't be asphalt or have any kind of runoff.
Not the church parking lot,
The other side, correct. And in regard to not putting the sidewalk, if we put the sidewalk, it would have nothing to do with stormwater runoff because there hasn't been a design done for the whole street. That's why we would rather wait and not replace a walkway that's already in good shape and being used by the residents.
Thank you. Commissioner Preston.
Yes, when I was going through the backup and you began to look at the city's concerns, and then you look at the proposal from the church, I think they did a good job in alleviating the strain that might be there and giving a very clear view of what this would look like. And it would actually be a neighborhood improvement. So there's some good things here. I think they did a good job in addressing the concerns from the city, and I will be in approval of this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Grosky.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no doubt that this is an improvement to the community. The project and the building itself look fabulous, actually. It comes down to me to the variance issues, and I'm going to be looking to my colleagues for some help on this. I mean, I can conjure up a hardship with respect to the concrete wall and putting in the hedge and allowing the community free access and flow to the place of worship. I can buy into that. I'm really struggling, as I alluded to earlier, with the second variance request for this project. And I wish maybe if there was a way to bifurcate that, or if someone can convince me what the hardship is, but isn't this exactly what we want for Northeast First Avenue? You want to improve that area. I mean, we have a workshop next week about improving the central core to our city. And now we're basically saying, don't do the improvements to improve the area that we want to get improved. So that's the part that I'm struggling with. If you want to improve the area, and then the new development that comes along sees that, then they should match it. They don't want to match it because there's nothing else there, but somebody's got to start. And I need help with what the hardship is on the curbs and gutters. I want to support it, and I want to support the first variance in the project, but I'm having a big trouble with the second variance request, and I don't want to vote no on part of the project when I like the vast majority of it, and that's the dilemma that I find myself.
Could we put up slide 18, please? '19, please. Okay. Commissioner, this is the existing condition on Northeast First Avenue right now. There is a continuous sidewalk. It's a very long street. That's the view looking to the north. There is not a plan in place by the city to redevelop all of the sidewalks and put in new curbs and gutters and exfiltration trenches. Doing this at this point would be a piecemeal effort at best and would only serve to worsen the condition. We proposed a public access easement that's 10 feet wide so that when this work is done for the entire street, when the improvements are there, we're on board with that and we'll participate. We're not asking for relief, we're asking for relief from doing this at this time. Our proposed access easement is shown on slide 19. Can you put that up, please? Is that 19?
Yes, this is 19.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you go back one minute? There we go. Okay. So we've been very careful about the design of the site. For example, we have excess parking. So even when this is developed in the future, losing the 2 parking spaces will still be in compliance with the code and have enough parking. We haven't placed any large trees in that public access proposed easement so that we won't be destroying any of the new beauty that we're bringing to the street.
Is your intent to maintain that easement?
Our intent is to maintain that easement. Can I introduce our contractor, Perry Ecton?
Sure,
Address the
just
question.
your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner, Commissioner Preston. Kerry Ecton, 1355 Southwest 126th Way, Pembroke Pines, Florida. In relationship to the easement, we're not saying, and I'm trying to address this to the commissioner who is on Zoom. We're not saying we don't want to do it. We're just saying, hey, can we do this when everybody else comes through and does this? Because you're going to have a raised sidewalk and that one section, you've got a single family home next door, 2 lots down, you have another apartment building. I can see some kid walking down the street or riding his bike crashing into this thing because it's going to be higher than what's there now. And what we're saying is we don't want to abandon it and make this a city issue. We're saying when the time comes that the entire street gets done, we will participate at that point. To do it now just seems like putting the cart before the horse. But we're saying we want to participate because we want to make that better for everybody. But we want to do that in a logical way that's supportive throughout the whole thing. Because I don't think anybody else on that street knows that this is being proposed down the street. We found this out when we first came in to have these discussions, and it was a shock to us. So we've been trying to absorb that and say, yes, we want to participate, but can we do it at the time where everybody else comes along because it's done at one time, instead of us piecemealing one piece and then doing something else? That's all we're asking. Not a no, but a deferred. Is that a better way to state it?
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Parnas?
Any questions?
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can separate the two items. If we can make a proposal on part one and then make a proposal on part two. I would hate to think the whole project is negated because of one section that may not have the votes. Would that be possible, City Attorney?
Mr. Vice Mayor, you do have the ability to approve this with the one variance as opposed to the two. You also have the ability per the code on variances to apply any conditions that you see appropriate. For example, if you wanted to hold them to that representation that they made, you could approve or not the second variance with the condition that if a neighbor or the city does a sidewalk project there, that they would commit to doing that as well. So you have some options here.
All right, thank you.
Simple answer is yes.
Excuse me, if I may ask, can we have a document that when the city requests it, that they're doing more than just your property and asks you to work with them in improving the sidewalk to the city's request as part of your thing in writing?
Yes, this will be a public access recorded easement. That is the intention, is to make it part of the approval process, is that it'll be recorded and memorialized, so that's exactly what our intention is. We want the improvement on the street as well. We want to do it in the right time.
Okay, thank you.
Bishop Pelt wanted to address the commission.
All right.
Please.
Bishop Hill wants to agree with what she just said.
Thank you, Bishop. Bishop Anthony Go, Senior Pastor, Radio Living Worship Center, 10647 Northwest 7th Place, Cold Springs, Florida. Vice Mayor, we are willing to put in writing our desire to improve this street in any way that pleases the city at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have Commissioner Hudak.
Thank you. My question is for city staff. What is the requirement for the raising of the sidewalk in the area with regards to the city? And to me, the point of piecemealing a drain there is a valid one. There's nothing to connect it to. So maybe I can, to me, it makes logical sense to do it all at once as opposed to piecemealing a variety of properties. So I don't know if we have any of those answers, but I would really love to know.
Eric Power, Director of Planning and Services, City of Deerfield Beach. So there is a manual that the city follows that talks about certain road width, what improvements you would have on the side of the road and how that road drains. This being one of our oldest roads in the city, that manual was developed decades after this road was built. So when we have improvements, we hold developers to this standard. Just as a quick example, across the street from this property will be the Vista Clara apartment complex, which we held them to this standard for this development and improvement. However, as the applicant stated, on the other side of the street, there has been no development. And in order to do something like this street block, the entire length of the street, you do it hopefully at one time in a uniform way. What the applicant is trying to express is that, this would be a piecemeal approach in which only one portion of this roadway would be done, as the rest of the street is already developed with homes. And so, but anyways, what we try to do, this is a standard comment that is brought forward by the by the engineering to utilize the standard manual, that we follow that criteria.
And how high would the sidewalk have to be if you were holding them to
It depends on the actual crown of the road. There could be anywhere from 3 to 5 feet difference, depends on how that would be designed.
So we need stairs to go from
Well,
one.
it'd be ramp, you know, it'd be a gradual ramp, it have to be ADA guideline.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Drosky.
Thank you for coming back to me, Mayor. As everyone was speaking, the light bulb went off. I mean, the solution for me would be to approve it on the condition, and I believe it was the developer that mentioned it, that in the event that the city or a neighbor does the sidewalk improvements, to basically hold them to their representation earlier. So if we can add that condition, that they'll improve when the city or a neighbor improves, then I think I can go along with it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there anyone from the public that cared to comment on this item? Anyone in the chamber? Right. Anyone online? Anyone who's written in? Okay, I'm going to close it to the public. I will add this, and having attended services with Bishop Pelt, I understand a wall is usually put there to protect the public from development that is not residential in these areas. In this case, I don't think that's necessary. I certainly understand the opening of that, and I would have no problem granting that. It does act as a bit of a sound buffer. Having attended services, I know how things can get joyous, to say. If that consideration for sound, as the sound wall, as long as you're okay with that, and have the ability to modify volume as needed for the residents, I think I don't have a problem with it. I think this is a good solution as far as putting this so this is not piecemeal at this time. Here's my only concern from a city standpoint. What happens if we grant this and it's years down the road and we're moving forward with something which we would have to notify you now have to come into compliance with this, and you have to do your portion of the sidewalk and everything that needs to be done, and you don't have the funding to do that. Now, you've already been granted, you're already there. What is it that gives the city the ability to say, hey, this was part of the deal and this needs to be done?
Well, that is always a possibility that sometimes you have improvements in the funds that you give. If I am correct, one of the reasons we wanted to come to this community is that this is a community that is somewhat impoverished or not at a scale financially. And I do believe that if we came to the point, there may be an opportunity for us to work with block grants, because I'm not even sure how the present sidewalk is in. But I do believe that if we were to come to a point, we have to come with money, we just have to come with money. It is part of what we're doing. And we make a commitment to this community. Let me say this. This city has been good to me. The members that I service are part of this community. Whether they be a member or whether they be resident. I made a commitment to the citizens of Deerfield Beach. And I made a commitment to you, Mayor, as we talked very candidly and openly, that we would do nothing that would in any way impugn the character, the quality, or the impression or the impact that we hope to be making on this community. And we thank you for consideration. We'll make sure that when that time comes, there may be a couple of fish that may need to be fried, a couple of pies that may need to be baked. But we'll make sure we have those things to make sure Deerfield stays a great city.
Thank you very much. Mr. Soroka, did you want to say something?
I'm just add to that. I mean, you raise a good point, Mayor. I mean, we can have them sign a document, but what happens at the end of the day if they just say, well, I don't have the money at the time. I mean, the only other alternative solution, I don't know if the applicant's willing to do this, is maybe post a bond. I mean, the improvements may not be, a bond for those type of improvements may not be that expensive, but there are ways to secure, performance. I don't know if the applicant can do that, but that's one potential option. So you could at least have that bond in place, to help secure that when the time comes, you have that leverage and motivation is in place to get the improvements done. That's one option.
Thank you. I see that as acknowledgement from Pastor Pelt that that wouldn't be an issue.
Well, we would not want to have an undue hardship if the bond is unreasonable as far as capital outlay. So I would ask that maybe that we get the staff or legal counsel to find out what are some options that we can look at to help secure the financing for that. We would not want to make a commitment. I mean, here's the reality. If I got to put up enough money for the bond now for building the thing, then I'm not going to do it. And that's something we really would try. So we just ask the staff to kind of give us some guidance as to maybe some other alternatives.
Okay, thank you.
Admittedly, I don't sell, I'm not in the performance bond business, so I can't tell you exactly what it is in my experience. It's generally 1.5% to 3% of the overall construction cost. So it's usually a smaller amount, but with that being said, you'll have to shop that on your own. But that's certainly one alternative. Letter of credit is another, but I think that's probably a little pricier than even the bond. So something to consider.
So all of the residents along Northeast First Avenue would be faced with the same condition. And singling out the church for a performance bond would be a hardship that wouldn't be imposed on any other resident on the entire street.
I disagree with you because right now we're not looking to do that. It's not something we would have to put forward. You're a new facility
Right.
going in there. It's a completely different situation. So I completely disagree with you.
Okay, understood, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Preston?
I just feel like, we have to take a look at the people that we're dealing with and how they have presented themselves over the years. I'm very comfortable with Pastor Pelt saying that if that should happen, they will do what they need to do to honor their agreement to participate. After all, it's a church and it's a pastor, and I think he has proven over the years to be credible in what he has said, and that's how I feel about it.
Okay. If anything, I would at least hope that we'd have a good faith effort of exploring the possibility of a bond to give us the citizenry some comfort level in knowing that in the future when this comes forward, if the votes aren't there to make it a requirement, at least we have a good faith effort from the church to do that. Is there a commission?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Before we go, open up for public.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Is there anyone from the public here tonight? I believe I did, and I thought I opened it close.
So you did? Oh, my apologies that I missed
We'll
it.
try it one more time. Anyone written in? I don't see anyone in the chambers, and I don't see anyone online, so we'll close it to the public again. Commissioner Preston, you made a motion to approve?
Yes.
With the variances?
Yes.
Okay.
And I second it.
We have a second from Vice Mayor Parnas. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Johnson?
I'm sorry to interrupt again. My apologies. Before we go, was that with the condition that was mentioned before, Commissioner Preston? My apologies, Mayor and Commissioner. I just wanted to be clear. With the condition that they do the commitment on the sidewalks if the neighbors or the city does a project on that side of Northeast First Ave?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I didn't hear it before, so thank you for clarification. Sorry.
It's okay.
Commissioner Drosky?
Yes.
Commissioner Huda?
Yes.
Commissioner Preston?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas?
Yes,
Mayor Daniels?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 8 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the program year 2019-2020 consolidated annual performance and evaluation report, CAPER, for housing and community development programs, authorizing submission of the CAPER to HUD, providing for implementation and effective date.
Do we have making this presentation?
Thank you, Mayor. For this presentation, we have Mr. Johnson Salas to provide the presentation on the paper.
You sure about that?
That's a good question. There it is. Jonathan, I think you're good to go. We have you unmuted. There we go.
Hello, Mayor and entire commission. So the CAPER, which is the Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report, is for CDBG funds that the Legislative and Community Affairs Department utilize for the program year. So it pretty much highlights how the funds were expended, and it's pretty much a performance evaluation. It shows, it measures our success, and it highlights all of the programs that we funded this year with CDBG funds, which we funded our housing rehabilitation program, we funded our purchase assistance program, we assisted with rental assistance with some of the CV funds we obtained. We helped residents with utilities assistance. We also helped with the senior transportation services at the Center for Active Aging. We utilize funds for the health and wellness program that's offered at the Center for Active Aging, as well as we completed a sidewalk project within District 2, which that sidewalk project was from Hillsborough to Southeast 4th and from Dixie Highway to MLK. So we installed a lot of missing segments of sidewalks within that community so that there's connectivity. So overall, the department did very well with our program funds for fiscal year 2019. So the CAPER is something that we must do annually and report back to HUD. And it kind of shows, you know, how we spend our funds and what programs we spend our funds towards.
So the presentation.
That's all we have to present for this evening in regards to the CAPER. This is done annually, Mayor. So unless there's any other questions, that's all staff has for this.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Not seeing anyone. Is anyone written in? Okay, we'll close it to the public. Commission, any comments?
Motion to approve.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes?
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas,
yes,
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Item number 9 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, amending the capital improvements element of the city's adopted comprehensive plan by revising and updating the 5-year schedule of capital improvements set forth in Table 10.3 in accordance with Section 163.3177 Florida statutes, as more specifically set forth in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, severability, and an effective date. This is second reading.
Mr. Santucci.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the second reading, as the city attorney spoke of. All this is doing is amending the capital improvement element section that has the most recent adopted capital improvement program. So it's just updating that specific section of the CIE with the most recent CIP program. It's the only change to this item, and it is on second reading. So if there's any other questions, I'm happy to address them.
Thank you. Commission, any comments? Not seeing any, anyone from the public here to comment on this item. We'll go ahead and close it to the public then.
motion to approve,
Second.
Motion by Commissioner, Vice Mayor Parnas, second by Commissioner Preston. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes?
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
yes,
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
We are now at the public comment portion of tonight's meeting. Persons addressing the commission shall state his or her name and address and may speak for 3 minutes unless extended for 1 additional minute by the mayor. This is the portion of the agenda for public comment to speak on items that are non-agenda items. If you want to speak on an item that's on the agenda, the time to do that is the public comment portion of that agenda item, and no comment shall be made related to the personal life or personal qualities of any person, and no language which would offend persons of ordinary sensibility shall be permitted.
Thank you. I will go with anyone here in the chamber like to speak. Yes, ma'am. Very permitted. Former mayor.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, Attorney. I'm here this evening because almost 2 weeks ago now, I called up my commissioner, Mike and Hudak, and he was very gracious and, said, I'll be taking care of this. The flag at Deerfield Beach Middle School is an absolute disgrace. I had sent you the pictures. I know you probably turned that over to someone else. It has not been taken care of. So I thought, well, I'm coming and letting everybody know so that something is done. I mean, I know you're used to be in the service, Dave, and I think if you saw it, you would be disgusted because it's really, really bad. And we also do not have one in Pioneer Park anymore, a flag. Okay, so, I mean, I think this is something that's important, and I don't know if you have someone individually that goes around and looks at the flags in the city, but now that they have all these grandbabies, we go over for soccer practice or over to the park and they play, and unfortunately, these are the things that, have been standing out to me. Also, I happened to be out last night and I was on on Hillsborough Boulevard going over to the beach, and the lights are out on Hillsborough Beach. I don't know if you know this, but again, I remember years ago, we used to ask the police department if the guys that were working night shifts, if they happen to see lights out on the street, if they would just write down from, Hillsborough to, A1A or whatever the distance is, because I know it's hard, but it's really dark. It was really dark last night. And, they have a tendency to come off that beach after partying up there at one of the establishments, and I just worry about the public. So those are my concerns. So please, I don't even care if you take the flag down, just you have to remove it. Okay, so that's why I was here. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I didn't get my name and address.
Peggy, I got it.
Okay. I'm so sorry. You know who I am.
You might need to give your address if that's all right, if you
Okay.
don't mind. Mr. Rosebach, do you mind stepping aside at all?
Sorry. 325 Southeast Third Terrace, Deerfield Beach.
Thank you very much. You're a semi-celebrity, so we kind of lose ourselves with that sometimes. Get a little awestruck. Former commissioner.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission members. Richard Rosenzweig, 97 Farm E, Deerfield Beach, Cindy Village. First and foremost, I want to thank the Commission and the City Manager. Financially, what you've done this past year in this pandemic and handled the city as well as you all have is a kudo, and I give you a great thanks for what you've accomplished. Also, I see we're having a boat parade coming up in Southern Park shortly. I think that's outstanding as well. That's a great draw. I don't think our park is big enough to handle the crowd. They brought everybody in that want to come in. I've seen the boat parade before, and thousands and thousands of people crowded to see the boats in the show. So, good job. Secondly, wish you all happy holidays. I think you will be here through the holidays. So, happy Hanukkah to my Jewish friends, and happy and Merry Christmas to the others. And I hope all of you get whatever you want through the holidays and wear gifts and stuff. But that's what I was paid for. Hope you don't get the bills. This past year with the pandemic, the group I belong to, Honor Flights Volunteers, flights have all been grounded due to the pandemic. And so we've had some virtual things on the ground and still work with veterans and so forth to let them know that we thank them for their service and so forth. When it comes to flags, there is a national code, a national law on how flags should be handled. And if they're being mishandled, that could actually have that little kickback from various organizations militarily. for the flag is such a great remembrance of our freedom around the world. So I hope you can take care of that quickly. It doesn't get too much further down the road, please. And lastly on this, the Jewish War Veterans of the U.S. this year is celebrating its 125th anniversary. And part of that program, come next May, hopefully, be able to bring a program into play with recognizing May as American Jewish Heritage Month. And some military programs are planned as well. And now that the national organization has promoted me to the national historian level, these are things I need to do to raise the issue of the Jewish military that they've done in this country since 1654, and what we've done in every war since then as a fighting military, as Commissioner Barnes can tell from his own service in Europe and so forth. So we veterans appreciate the fact that we're being recognized for what we do and how we do it. And those of you who are family members or in service but you weren't, remember to tell the veteran families, thank you for your service. Because when a family has a veteran, we're all serving. Families are critical to our ability to protect this country as well. So thank you for your time. Thanks for the work that you do. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your
all.
time.
Enjoy the happy holidays.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public care to come?
Good evening.
Evening. Just your name and address for the record, please. Sir.
Leonard Arabia, 2051 Southeast 3rd Street. I have written a letter to the town. I would like to quickly read it into the record. But before I do that, I would like to say that this is, although it affects the dog ordinance of not walking on the east side of South Ocean Way, this is about public safety and a significant issue. To start with the letter, I'm a dog owner. I walk my dog every day along South Ocean Way. Over the last couple of years, I've made several attempts to contact various city departments in an effort to resolve the egregious conditions that pose a significant danger to the public safety and potential devastating financial liability to the city. In the past, I've served on a number of town and city boards. Also in 1989, I co-founded a Florida Insurance Guarantee Association liability insurance company in Florida. I was somewhat astounded by the city's creation of an ordinance/regulation pertaining to individuals who are walking the dogs. It disregards their health and safety and potential financial liability to Deerfield Beach. As I'm sure you're aware, any ordinance, regulation, or rule needs to be carefully analyzed as to what its future potential detrimental effects can be. As a dog owner, I understand what the ordinance attempts to accomplish, so long as the public safety is the #1 priority. The issue that I bring to you today is when walking a dog on South Ocean Way, a person is forced, I repeat, forced, to walk on the west side of the street with either their back to the traffic or facing the traffic. There are 2 locations on the west side of South Ocean Way where there isn't a sidewalk. One is in front of the Wyndham Hotel and the adjoining property directly south. The second location is north of the Embassy Suites for an approximate distance of 100 to 200 yards. South Ocean Way is a very narrow road with parking on its east side. This creates a very narrow area to drive on, and a dog owner is expected to walk directly on the street with a dog on a leash. This past weekend, while walking my dog south on a leash, I was sideswiped by a car in front of the window. I was not badly injured, but was hit by the side view mirror, and thank God my leash dog was on my right side. I would respectfully request a complete review of the city ordinance regulation that forces a person to endanger himself or herself, their pet, safety, and well-being. I am requesting that the dog walking ordinance/regulation, this is a reach, I believe, be
Would you like
rescinded.
another minute, sir?
Be rescinded immediately, because this is a matter of significance. In the litigious world that we live in today, a liability suit against the city or any city ordinance regulation which requires an individual to place themselves in peril would be catastrophic. I'm an engineer and I've done some town planning. I don't know if the commission is aware of the fact that in these areas, there's 10 feet of roadway between parked cars and the no sidewalk area. A parking space in any commercial development, shopping center, they figure 8.5 feet to park a car. So somehow or another, in 10 feet, a car is supposed to be able to drive by, and a person with a dog on a leash, which has got 1.5 feet of space, maybe 2 feet, is supposed to walk his dog without getting hit. This is a very, very significant issue, okay?
Sir, your time is up, unfortunately, but we're happy to talk to you about this afterwards. If you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public care to comment?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Dave Morantz. I'm with Deerfield Beach EDC. We're located at 10 February Drive here in Deerfield Beach. I might be out of order because there was an agenda item acknowledging two wonderful former employees, soon-to-be former employees of the city of Deerfield Beach. Personally and professionally, I had an opportunity to get to know each of both Vicki and Nicole. And when I was transferred here in 2010, and I got to know them and watch them grow, and their legacy really is the way they reached out to the private sector, the way they've affected and led by their generosity and leadership within the city staff, and the people they touched not only within the staff but outside the staff. But I think their legacy is much senior management here and policymakers that have created the culture for them. So professionally, I wish them nothing but the best. They serve the city with great candor, and I think we should all recognize that it's in a better place because we can watch young people go to their full capacity and move on to greater things. And it's your legacy as well.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else from the public care to comment? Is there anyone who's written in? Okay, is there anyone online? I'm gonna go ahead and close it to the public then. Staff, if we could make sure, I know that the flag, at least at the villages of Hillsborough Park, is in good shape, but if these flags are anywhere in kind of bad condition, that we need to take care of that immediately. I don't know what has happened there, but that needs to be taken care of immediately. I know we've had some sections of lighting out on Hillsborough and the western portion, the central area of the city as well. I think we've taken care of most of those, but if we can make sure that our officers are doing that and letting us know when these lights are out, but we need to take care of that immediately as well. Regarding the safety issue as far as walking the dogs, it's an interesting point that's been made on that, because certainly there is, what happened to you should not have happened, but that is a danger that is there. I don't know if revoking this ordinance is the right thing to do, but it's certainly something that's worthwhile to take a look at it, figure out what we can do to make some changes. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. We're happy to talk to you about this afterwards as well. With that, we can move on.
Item number 10 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, removing Tracy Williams from the Education Advisory Board and appointing Karen Shelley to the Education Advisory Board to fulfill Ms. Williams' unexpired term, providing for an effective date.
Okay. Anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Okay. Vice Mayor, I believe this is yours.
The reason I'm removing Tracy is that she moved out of state and can no longer participate in meetings. It's not that she wasn't very good at what she did. She took a job teaching in another state. So I've replaced her with somebody I felt would be an asset to that board. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
New motion from Commissioner Hudak, second from Commissioner Parnas, excuse me, Vice Mayor Parnas, and second by Commissioner Preston. Is there anyone from the public here to comment on this item? I'll close it to the public. Roll call, please. Or actually, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
Item number 11 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, appointing William Lane as a regular member to the Planning and Zoning Board and providing for an effective date.
Is there anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Name and address for the record, please.
Richard Rosens, 197 Pardon Me. This resolution calling for appointment to the Planning and Zoning Board by one Billy Lane. Having known Billy quite a while in Century Village and his cooperation within the village, and having served on the cookie board myself, having seen him in operation, I highly recommend him. He's quite a gentleman, very forthright and honest his opinions, sometimes a little too much so, but I think he'd be a great asset to the Planning and Zoning Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? I don't see anyone online or anyone who's written in. I'll close it to the public. Vice Mayor Parnas, your point.
Yes, I selected William Lane because he has spent over 30 years as the OSHA representative for General Electric in their locomotion plant. He is very familiar with safety and safety measures, and I think that would be a welcome asset to planning and zoning. He knows how to read blueprints and look for safety features in construction, which he did for 30 years. Being the OSHA representative from a company like General Electric certainly qualifies him to be on our planning and zoning board. And I recommend him highly.
Thank you. Is that a motion?
Yes. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Parnas, second by Commissioner Preston. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, we are now at the consent portion of tonight's agenda. Items 12 through 23 are listed on consent. Mayor, if you want to see if there's any polls or.
Sure. Is there any polls from the commission on any item 12 through 23?
I'd like to pull 19.
Is there any other polls? Commissioner Drosky?
13, please.
Item number 13. Okay. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on any of the other items on here that are not 13, 19, either item 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, or 23? Is there anyone online or anyone who's written in? Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 20 and 19 are for the same project. So it would be for my recommendation that if we're pulling 19, that 20 also be pulled, just in case there's a different direction on either one of those.
I don't have a problem with that. I'll pull 20 for myself. Okay, I'm going to close the items other than 13, 19, and 20 to the public, and we will. We're looking for a motion. A motion would be for items 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21, 22, and 23.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Parnas, second by Commissioner Hudak. We have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky?
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak?
Yes.
Commissioner Preston?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas?
Yes.
Mayor Dan?
Yes.
Item number 13 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the amendment to the agreements with Waste Management Inc. of Florida for recycling processing services, authorizing execution of the amendment, providing for implementation and effective date.
Commissioner Drosky, you pulled this item, so comment first.
I did. Thank you, Mayor. The reason that I pulled this item is I just don't believe it belongs on the consent agenda. I don't want the public to think that we're trying to, squeeze something in here or and I know that wasn't the intent, but I just wanted to make sure that this one is, specifically brought to the public's attention, that this item is basically extending the recycling, well, it's not extending the program, it's extending the non-collection of the recycling program into the future until there's a more reasonable solution. The commodity prices have not increased, and the solutions for recycling have not materialized, hence the need to continue the disbanding of the program for the time being until something more attractive appears to the city. And that's why I had it pulled, is not to, I read it, I understand it, I read the backup, I discussed it with staff, but I just wanted to make sure that the public understood what we were doing tonight.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Parnas, you comment?
The reason we suspended the program was the fact that over 50% of everything picked up was contaminated. We've tried for a long time to educate the public to safely recycle. They failed. No matter what we tried, education-wide signs, special bins, etc., the public still continued to contaminate, which cost us a great deal of money unnecessarily. And therefore, the city had no choice until such time as the market changed, the price went up for recycled goods, that it wouldn't cost us about double for contaminated goods than just garbage, to leave it as garbage until things change. I highly recommend that we continue not to recycle until things change.
Mr. City Attorney, does this have a date on this, when this would end and we would enter back into negotiations on this, just for clarity for the public?
Sure, Mayor. So we entered into previously a 5-year agreement. There were 2 separate agreements, one for curbside single family pickup and the other for commercial and multifamily. They essentially had very similar, the same terms. We previously suspended some of the collection. So this effectuates the status quo for the remaining 3 years of the agreement. But you still continue to have in both of the agreements after this amendment, a 90-day out termination for convenience. So let's say next year there's a better option that becomes available. You can send notice and get out of the agreements with that 90-day notice for termination.
So with this, is this this is telling us that for 3 years we will not be bringing back recycling?
We could always renegotiate that. There was an obligation in the agreements for you to bring all this recycling to Waste Management. So this removes that obligation on the city for the next 3 years, consistent with the letter that was issued previously for the suspension.
Okay. City Manager, do you want to say something? I see you leaning in.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This change basically is a language change to say that what we bring them in the recycling program, and not necessarily what is recyclable. So even during the term of this agreement, and Mr. Soroka talked about the options in the contract to get out of it, if something should change with another vendor or if there's a better solution out there. But this allows us to be flexible in our program under the existing term of the contract. So for now, as we still are seeing the same conditions that we have and the reasons why we have the existing program that we do, which is the elimination of the curbside recycling program and a little bit of expansion of the regional recycling program that we have with the regional drop-off center and 2 auxiliary locations. But this allows us that flexibility during this term, either to ramp up if things get better or there's better solutions out there with Waste Management, or to maintain the program that we have today, should conditions not.
So putting this in layman's terms, this is not signaling that the city of Deerfield Beach is not going to be doing recycling for the next 3 years.
That is correct.
Okay, and this gives us the flexibility when we bring our program back to adopt a program that works for what the current market is.
Correct.
Okay, for the immediate future, and this has been extended to January, which we said we would not be doing this, we go beyond January as a hard date of when we might return to recycling.
Correct.
Okay, so we have an indefinite date of when the city of Deerfield Beach will get back to recycling. Okay, does that sound right?
It is.
Okay, thank you. You guys get paid by the word or? I will say this, you know, so many people want us to bring it back and their heart's in the right place. Their execution is absolutely terrible. We've seen what the city of Deerfield Beach just put out, is showing one of our recycling centers and how people just dump it in plastic bags all around the actual drop-off spot. People just aren't doing it right. That does not help the situation. Forget the fact that there is not a market for the recyclable materials. We're not doing it right is a big part of the problem. So I hope we are continuously, and I'm sure we are, because I have faith in our staff members in that department, that we are constantly looking for opportunities in which we can bring it back. I think in the long run, recycling is the right thing to do. We're just not doing it right. And it's not a way to do it effectively at this point that makes logical or financial sense for the city of Deerfield Beach. Is there anyone from the public care to comment on this item? Please come up, give your name and address for the record, please.
Leonard Arabia, 2051 Southeast Street.
I am so sorry. Your first name again, sir?
Leonard.
Thank you.
I think you'll find the only motivation for recycling will be to put a charge for every bottle, et cetera, et cetera. That will make people go and recycle the stuff, like we had in Massachusetts before I moved down. But if there's no penalty, they're paying an extra nickel or an extra dime every time they buy a bottle of soda. Someone is gonna bring that bottle of soda back to get their dime.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public? I'll go ahead and close it to the public. I think the problem is whether if we're paying somebody or they're paying us to bring back the glass bottle, we've got nowhere to take it because no one's accepting recycled glass like it used to be. That paid for my entire candy and soda pop budget when I was in 5th grade. It doesn't work that way anymore, unfortunately. Commission, any comments on this? I'm going to close it to the public.
Motion to approve?
Second. Motion by the Vice Mayor, second by Commissioner Hudak. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay. We have item number 19. Commissioner Preston, you asked for the poll.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Preston, sorry to interrupt. I'm just going to read the title into the record before you start. My apologies. Item number 19 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the grant of a 10-foot wide utility easement at 401 Southwest 4th Street to Florida Power and Light, authorizing execution of the easement agreement, providing for implementation, conflicts, and an effective date.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Commissioner Preston.
Okay, as a part of the Siemens contract for the construction of the compressed natural gas filling station, and it's, you know, what's requested is this 10-foot easement so that this can take place. My question is there any special concerns for this compressed gas filling station to be built there at the 10-foot wide utility easement? And if there are any special considerations, has Siemens addressed this?
Mr. Santucci.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the question. The city does not have any concerns in relation to the easement itself. The easement it's a linear easement to bring the power distribution to the CNG station. So in order for FP&L to provide that energy to the station, provide that electricity, they obviously need to bring a line in there, and this easement will allow FP&L to do so. And just to further elaborate, the next item 20 is the agreement for them to execute that work. I hope that answered your question. And if not, I'm happy to clarify further.
Yeah, so the city is comfortable with this. There's no special considerations.
That is correct. We are comfortable with this item. Commissioner, we're comfortable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the public care to comment on item number 19? I'll see anyone online. No one's written in. I'll close it to the public. Commission.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes?
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morales,
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes. Item 20 then.
Item number 20 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the underground distribution facilities installation agreement with Florida Power and Light for the installation of underground facilities at the Central City Campus, authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement and providing for an effective date.
Okay. I know this was pulled because it might have an effect on what we just discussed. Is there anyone for the public care to comment on this item? Not seeing anyone. I'll close it to the public. Commission, we'll need to do a roll call vote on this because there's a dollar amount attached.
Yeah, I want to talk about this for a
Okay,
second.
go ahead, Vice.
I think it's important for our future as a city to get as much underground lighting and electricity into buildings as humanly possible. This avoids a tree falling down with wires and knocking out electricity for a large section of the city. So in the long run, it'll save jobs, money, taxes, and other things. I'd like to see every project, new project, have that as an ordinance. We're working on that. That's for the future. I'm thinking ahead down the road that we can't still live with a wire on a tree and be a modern city. So I recommend we approve this.
Yeah, is that a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion from the Vice Mayor,
Second.
second from Commissioner Hudak. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes?
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morales.
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
We are now at comments by administration and legal. Flip the coin and I lost, so I'll go first. I just have two comments tonight. The first one, at the last meeting, Commissioner Drosky asked if I could give the commission an update at the next meeting, that's this meeting, regarding the status of the opioid litigation. So I'm going to tell you what I can share in public. The city of Deerfield Beach, like a number of cities and counties throughout, and states, frankly, throughout the country, joined litigation against a number of pharmaceutical distributors and manufacturers that manufactured opioids. As part of that multi-district litigation, what has been made public in the last few weeks is that there is a proposed $26 billion national settlement from 3 of the main distributors and 1 of the main manufacturers that apparently is close to being completed. You know, again, I'm sharing this with you because this was made public. There is still some discussions and negotiations. It's not finalized to be worked out in terms of the state attorney generals, and generally 90% of the governments need to agree. So I can't go much further on it. What I can tell you is if any of you, commissioners want more information and want a little more details as to the status of those negotiations, we can certainly set up, one-on-one and individual calls, with outside counsel. And I would just note, before the city gets the impression like we're getting $1 billion, I'd love to be able to tell you that that's the case. I don't think that will be the case in terms of the amount. But most of the money that has been proposed for the settlement deal is intended to help pay for treatment and prevention programs in affected communities. And that's about all I can share on that due to the fact that it's still pending. And again, I'm happy to set up one-on-ones with you, get you any more information that you need. And Commissioner Drosky, I know you asked for this, so I don't know if there's any more questions or anything else you have on that. To the extent that I can answer without breaching anything, that I will. I see you shaking your head now. Okay, so that was the first update. The second one is another update. You may recall several months ago that the county put a measure on the recent ballot, the November ballot, that dealt with effectively preempting the city's right to zone and regulate transportation, surtax-funded transportation projects on county land. They did put that item on the ballot. The city of Weston filed a lawsuit challenging the ballot question based on it being misleading and other defects. And the city of Deerfield Beach, along with 5 other municipalities, joined that lawsuit along with Weston. The argument was heard on that matter shortly before the election, but there was no ruling before the election. The vote narrowly passed. It needed 60%. I want to say it got about 64%. And right on the eve of the Thanksgiving holiday, we did get a decision from the lower court judge in that matter, essentially finding that the cities had not met the high burden to overturn the ballot question. The follow-up from that is that Weston is considering an appeal along with several other cities. The same, 6 cities that had joined the previous lawsuit, and they're going to be acting on that, I believe, in a week or so. And I know that there's been, a request to reach out to me, but also the city manager, Mr. Santucci, about potentially participating in the appeal before the 4th BCA. So I just wanted to give you an update and a heads up on that, to the extent you wanted to discuss or you could give some direction. And happy to answer any questions on either one of those items. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner, any comments regarding that or any questions? Commissioner Drosky.
I think we should join the appeal. I'm not going to mince any words. I believe that 5 of our sister cities have likewise authorized joining the appeal. The only holdout, I think, is Dania Beach, who just has not met yet. But to stand for, we've gone this far, to stand to be trampled on once again for our home rule rights. I advocate whenever I can, and I think we need to see this battle through. We may have, lost the battle, but we certainly haven't lost the war. And for the $2,500 or $2,500 that's being asked for, I don't see that as an obstacle to protecting the city and our residents once again from, the trampling of our home rule rights. So I would say that we should join the appeal.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
I agree. This is by just a directional vote rather than a formal vote. I agree with you. I think we should join. The opioid crisis has killed many people, has inflicted untold sorrow on many families. And I think the drug companies should be held responsible.
To your point, Commissioner Drosky, I have no problem with us joining in that appeal. So I would support that if we're looking for a motion, if you want to make the motion.
I will make the motion to join the appeal. Is it, Mr. City Attorney, they're looking for 2 or 2,500? 2,500?
The request was 2,500.
So then that is my motion. 20, pardon me, 2,500 is my motion.
I second
Second vote from the Vice Mayor. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes?
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas,
Yes.
and Mayor Vance.
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Santucci.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things this evening, one which is actually on the agenda, but let me follow up on a few items if I may. As discussed previously in relation to the C-SLIP project, the C-SLIP project process is the way I should put it, that has recently changed. Just as some background, Mayor, as you know, you sponsored an item to oppose the change in the process in which now the city, in all cities in fact, when we do have these C-SLIP projects that are on city-owned roads, we will be responsible for the design, the CIE services, as well as any contingency as well. And with that change, which was originally supposed to occur after the current funding cycle, which is 5 years, that quickly changed to now affecting one of our projects that is in the current 5-year cycle. That particular project is the construction of a 5-foot sidewalk, pedestrian lighting, roundabouts at Crystal Lake Drive in Northwest 45th Street, milling and resurfacing the road and ADA compliancy. Total construction cost that was going to be funded, fully funded, was approximately $2 million. So again, we have been notified that that project will now fall under the new LAP program requirements, which we previously talked about, which is frankly an arduous grant process for the city to follow, but nonetheless does come with some, some grant dollars, and so you kind of do what you have to do there, obviously. But because of this change, which was unilateral, we are also being asked at this time to do two things. One is that by January 1, I have to submit a letter or an email that shows our intention of supporting and administering the affected projects from the Crystal Lake project, I'll just say, and committing to funding the required phases as they come up. So that would be obviously the design, the CIE services, and any contingency outside of what the MPO or FDOT would pay for. Obviously don't feel comfortable making that determination on my own since there's a funding component to this. Additionally, even with that letter of commitment that I'm being asked or to do by the MPO, additionally, by February 15, 2021, we would need to do a formal resolution of support, and they have a template that they have provided with specific language that they're requesting there. The alternative to this is that the project is not funded at all. And so, as you know, we've gone ahead and done that resolution of opposition. Since that time, as requested, we have submitted that resolution to the MPO, FDOT, our neighboring municipalities here in Broward County, and anyone else who I'm not remembering offhand that Commissioner Drosky had asked us to send that to. So I do know that that resolution of opposition is gaining some ground with other municipalities. I'm not sure if they've actually passed similar ones. But in addition, I believe that there are some communities in Broward County who are also looking for some legislative support on getting this change reversed. With all that said, if we do not submit that letter by January 1, or if I do not submit that letter by January 1, then we definitely lose the funding. And so my recommendation would be to go ahead and submit a letter to the MPO with that. It's kind of a soft commitment, I would say, to allow us to see what may transpire from now until February 15th, at which time we would need to do the resolution. So we do have some time to do that resolution of support, but if we don't receive that, or if they don't receive that letter by January 1, either through email or written letter from me with that initial commitment, then at that point, we've been told by the MPO that they would not fund the project.
Okay. Commissioner Preston?
Unless the commission has some special concerns, I would say let's give the city manager the authority to write that letter, get ahead of the situation rather than wait.
I agree.
Me too. Do we need a motion?
You need a motion. Okay.
I'll make a motion that
we'll let him make the motion.
Okay. Go ahead,
Commissioner
Ben. I'm
Preston.
sorry.
I'll make a motion that the city commission give the authority to the city manager to write this letter to the MPO with appropriate information.
Second.
Second, okay, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Preston,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parnas.
Yes.
And Mayor Hill.
Yes.
Thank you. And one more item for this evening, which is the financial update for fiscal year 20. The fiscal year has closed, obviously, closed on September 30th, but we're still going through the auditing process and the closeout process for that year. So I have our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Stephanie Tinsley, who is still working diligently through that process. But we've gotten to a position where we believe we could provide you some preliminary numbers on the general fund. And until such time as we go through the audit process with our external auditor. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Ms. Tinsley.
Thank you, Mr. Santucci, and good evening, commissioners. I am here to just do a very brief update on the financials, considering the environment that we've been in over the past 9 months. Thought it'd be important to just kind of give you an update and let you know kind of where we are. The bottom line, we're in good shape. It's not perfect, but we're in good shape. If we want to go to the next slide, the overview of the presentation, I'll briefly look at the regulatory environment that we're under. There's a lot of regulations, but there's a couple that we had to abide by in order to be sure that we are following the regulations. I will also go over the preliminary financial results in comparison to the budget for the general fund for FY20, and also do a preliminary fund balance look at the results, and also how it compares to our policy and our compliance there. And so with the next slide, these are a couple of the regulatory key areas that we had to manage under when we come to the end of the FY20 and where we stood at. And there are some time constraints with them as well. So if there was any chance that we had to do a budget amendment to increase the appropriation, I believe we had to do it within 60 days after the close of the fiscal year based on the statute. And then also our local ordinance, we were in compliance all along, where if we did not believe that the revenues would be sufficient to cover expenses as the COVID environment affected our economic environment, the COVID pandemic. The city manager did report to the commission and came up with some recommended remedial actions, and we moved forward with those. And then if necessary, if there was any actions that the commission needed to take, we would have to bring those forward as well. And there was a potential at the end of September when we first did a first look at the financials, but as the team continued to do their reconciliations and accruals and really scrub through the accounts and do the analysis, we turned out to be in a much better situation than initially projected, or the initial first look. And so with that, if we go to the next slide. So it may be a little difficult to see that, but this is a look at the general fund based on the exhibit format for the budget and for the budget amendment format. And so there's going to be two looks, but let me just focus on this one first. This one focuses on looking at it from a balanced budget standpoint. So the columns, of course, the first column is the categories of revenue and expenditures. And then the second column is the FY 2020 amended budget as approved. And then the next column is the results as of the September monthly financial reports that we sent out in mid-October. And so that was the results there. And then since then, between looking at the accounts and really looking through and scrubbing through the accounts and doing some continued adjustments as well as projections, that's the column that's called the projection year-end results. And then the variance from the projected to the budget. So the first top half is, of course, the revenues and as they're categorized. And so we see that the taxes, there was a positive variance, and that is primarily due to the delinquent taxes that are collected. So we budget 95% of current tax collections, but we also collect or receive prior year or delinquent taxes as well. And so that's primarily what that positive variance is, which was very good. And then some of the higher negative variances is not anything that was unexpected due to the COVID environment. Some of it is basically dealing with the communications and electricity sales tax, franchise tax, and then the intergovernmental revenue is basically the half-cent sales tax on that, that came in under projection. The other financial sources was basically the capital lease program. And so we basically could only draw what we have actually spent to replace any of the eligible capital equipment and vehicles. So that came in under as well. The positive variance in the miscellaneous revenue, the bulk of that miscellaneous revenue at the 9 million is the admin fees. And so that's the bulk of that. The positive variance is basically, we still saw some positive interest revenue earnings, which was pretty much at the very beginning of the fiscal year, well into as the impacts of COVID happened towards the second half of the year. Also, there was some one-time funding like the lawsuit proceeds and things like that. So that also helped. The next set, which is the highlighted or the colored lines, there's a reason why I have them colored that way. When you look at it from a different perspective, I'll show you that in the next slide, but that's there just to show that transfers in and the transfer for the fund balance for building funds, et cetera. Those were items that were budgeted, and there was the use of the transfers in. We received that. And then the expenditures, as we see that the total revenues plus transfers in, we actually did fairly well at 103.8 million. Didn't quite hit the budget, but still was pretty decent. The expenditures reflected in a functional level. As you can see, we came in well under what was budgeted at 95.6 million. And a lot of that variance, which are positive variances, had a lot to do with, of course, all of the different different ways that we had to tighten our belts and deal with personnel reductions, freezing positions, furloughs, not doing any initiatives that we had planned, postponing capital outlay, things like that. And so it really did reflect in the expenditures and the reduced expenditures and coming in within the revenues collected. We did the transfers out, which a good portion of that portion of that was for the building fund, as well as for debt service and some other areas. And so leaving us with a total appropriate expenditures plus transfers of $104 million. With the revenues minus the expenses, it leaves a negative 400,000 of a change in fund balance. And that is well within the FY20 budget authorization at this point of the of the 1.7 that was budgeted. This does not include, I wanted to also indicate that we are doing reimbursement submissions for the CARES Act. The expenses are here that were through September 30th, but we would not be actually recording the receipt of the CARES Act funding here because of the timing. When we get those reimbursements, it will be recorded in FY 2021. So this is definitely a very conservative look at this point. If we go to the next, slide, this is kind of the same thing that was before, but it's just from a look from the financial standpoint. So if you happen to, like to read the CAFR, this would be similar to the view on page 82 of the CAFR. And so I just kind of wanted to show, sometimes there's confusion. I get questions on certain ways that we present information, whether it's in a budget format or whatever, and then you look at the CAFR and it doesn't seem to reconcile. So basically, all that's occurred that happens is that a few lines get changed around and gets pushed to the bottom. So the revenues stay pretty much the same. It just becomes, especially for the property tax, it just comes one line, but the information is still the same. The expenses, expenditures, this is still in the functional categories. I kind of like the functional categories. It's more in line with your strategic or with our strategic priorities as opposed to the departmental. But in the financials in the CAFR, it is at a departmental level. And so it would be a little bit more detailed at that level. And so the expenditures are still the same at the 95.6. The total revenues before transfers 102.2 million. And so the difference between the operating revenues and the expenditures is that excess deficiency or deficiency of revenue over expenditures, which is 6.5 million. Other financial sources and uses, that's how the category is for transfers in and out. That's where that is located. And so we have transfers in and we had our transfers out, same as before, of 7 million. And so then the difference between the positive 6.5 and the use of the 7 million is the $404,000. And so then when you look down towards the bottom, that's the projected change in fund balances. Your beginning fund balance is 26.7 million. Net, the 4.404 will give you an ending projected fund balance for FY20, unaudited at 26.3 million. And so if you just kind of keep that in your mind, you go to the next slide. This is how the fund balances for the general fund are broken down. And this would be, again, I kind of tied to something to look at. It's on in your CAFR on page 41, same table format. So your, if we look at the last column, the total FY20 projected unaudited, as I indicated, the beginning fund balance is the ending fund balance for FY19, just carries up to the top there at 26.7 million. I did not project any changes for the remaining categories of non-spendable, restricted, or the assigned fund balances. There's likely to be some changes, but at this point, it was just a little bit too soon to be projecting any major changes. I don't foresee any. And so therefore the change in the fund balances is really under the unassigned general fund operations. So at last year's FY 2019 audited was at 17.6 million. The total FY 2020 projected unaudited is 17.2 million, which is netted the 404,000. One of the things I did mean to include in from the prior slide is that also within the general fund version on the CAFR or financial side, we also roll up a few other funds in that presentation in the CAFR. And so the potential is that, which one of them is the senior services, there's the potential that that change in fund balance may go up a little bit more. It may be, maybe 800,000 but we're still well within the budget appropriation that was given for FY 2020. So given that, if we go to the next slide and see how we compare for the policy compliance. So the policy states that you take 10% of what your general fund operating expenses plus the transfers, and that's your minimum balance for your unassigned fund balance. So doing that calculation for FY20, the minimum policy balance should be 10,400,000. We have a balance of 17 as projected for FY20 of 17.2. It could potentially be 16.8. In either case, we're well above our policy limits and we are in compliance. And again, the unassigned fund balance does not include that assigned emergency reserve funds. I do not include that in the calculation. And so we are in good shape. I'm not seeing any major swings. It does take quite a bit to go through all of the funds, and we're scrubbing them and doing all of the analysis that we can, and definitely be prepared for the audit that's coming up in the next month or so. So with that, hopefully I didn't bore you too much, take up too much time. If you have any questions, if not, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Just for clarity, my understanding is through COVID and the issues that we've had, the sacrifices that we've made, we're only having to go into our reserves for 400,000, a little over 400,000.
At this time, that's our estimation. As we said, we do have to reconcile some other funds that are linked to the general fund and may have a larger effect, but there's other funds that may offset that with a net increase. So until we reconcile those and get through the audit, we'll see. But for now, the general fund is at around 400,000 in a deficit from the revenue. So yeah, as opposed to where we had originally started at somewhere between 9 to 3 million.
3 to 9 million is what we were originally looking at, and we're looking at now 400,000.
Correct.
And you said that the CARES Act funding that would come in would not be applied here, so that might actually wipe out the $400,000 as well.
Well, it won't apply to FY20 in terms of presentation of the audited financial statements through the CAFR, but any hit to the reserves that we see in 20, we're going to get the CARES Act funding in FY21, and it could be applied. That's a bank account.
So in other words, in 2021. When we get our reimbursements, it could total up more than $400,000, but it's better, at a wash.
Absolutely.
That's great to hear. Commissioner Preston.
I was following along pretty good with that, but I would think that my colleagues and myself would actually appreciate and absorb this a little bit more if she could start over and give this whole presentation again. Just kidding.
We're going to come to your house first to do that, if that's all right.
I hope you have enough food for us.
Well, thank you.
Commissioner Hudak.
I just want to thank staff for all of their sacrifices. I know this wasn't an easy thing to do, but I commend the leadership for getting us through this as well as we have. So good job to all.
Yeah, for us to get through this pandemic, the sacrifices that were made, this isn't just leadership. This is good financial stewardship. from the top all the way to the bottom with our employees, and we can't thank you enough. You did an outstanding job. Very, very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
One very last thing, I just would like to announce that the city has launched its Your City, Your Voice Community Insight Survey today, and that's going to be available on our webpage just as soon, probably by the end of this week, I believe. And so we're asking that all residents participate in that survey as we go through our new strategic planning process for the next 5 years of the city's vision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments by mayor and city commission.
Okay, we'll start with District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of things. First of all, both the city manager and I are veterans and take the status of the flags extremely to heart. You know, I made an oath to protect the flag, so as well as did our city manager. So I'm hopeful that we will get that taken care of tomorrow because that is extremely important. And if we could also get one over Pioneer Park, it would be greatly appreciated. And if we could have someone in Parks just assigned to making sure that all of the flags in the city are in, you know, in the condition that they need to be. So it will be greatly appreciated. With regards to the lights that are out on Hillsborough Boulevard from Federal Highway to the Ocean Drive. City has been aware of it. I've been made aware of it for about a month now. The city has requested the contractor who severed the line to fix it. As of yet, it has not been fixed, and the city has issued a stop order on all of their construction until the contractor does indeed fix it. So we are aware of it, and we are doing everything that we possibly can to make sure that those lights are repaired and operational as soon as we possibly can. Happy holidays to all. Like all of you, I can't wait for the end of 2020. And I'm looking forward to 2021. District 1 Saturday hours will be a Saturday, December 12th from 10 to 12. I've allotted 30 minutes time slot for residents who need to meet with me. If you would go ahead and reach out to Erica at 954-480-4263 to go ahead and make an appointment as you need. With regards to the 13th and 15th Avenue bridges, the survey was taken down yesterday. We had over 700 responses. I will be making every effort to meet with staff during the month of December so that we can go ahead and review those results. And I expect to be hosting a District 1 meeting in January to go ahead and present those results to the residents. So that we can get a better understanding of how we are moving forward. Flooding in the city. I've been assured that staff is working diligently to develop a short-term solution to the flooding on Southeast 8th Avenue and the other areas of our city. Please understand each area has their unique challenges, and city staff is working to address these areas while long-term solutions are being identified with the creation of the Stormwater Master Plan. I am hopeful to have more information on the short-term solutions for Southeast 8th Avenue, and so that I can go ahead and present them during that January District 1 meeting. A couple of events that we have going on. We have the lights of Night of Lights at Sullivan Park that will be taking place this Saturday. There are 4 separate lighting ceremonies so that we can ensure social distancing. So individuals will need to register ahead of time at the city website. So you go to the events tab. It's my understanding that is not sold out as of yet. We usually hold it strictly for residents first. And then if the residents do not take up all the slots, then we'll open it up to other city residents. And I believe we'll be opening that up sometime tomorrow So if you are a resident and you are interested in attending, please go ahead and sign up. It's going to be a tremendous evening. Operation Santa. So Santa will be driving through neighborhoods near you. In the past, Santa actually stopped at the various parks due to COVID and the city's due diligence with regards to social distancing. Santa will not be stopping, neither will Mrs. Claus, but we will be there in attendance. Please visit the city website to see when. It is on Sunday, December 13th. It starts at 9:30 in the morning, and you can see the route. That is, it'll be posted on the city website. We also have a food distribution at Quiet Waters happening Friday, December 4th. We only have 2 left for the year. This Friday, December 4th, and then in 2 weeks, December 18th, and it begins around 9 o'clock. So for those in need, please come on out, and the city will do, as well as with DSO, everything we can for you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. District 3?
Okay. First, I want to say this to my companions up here. I've worked with a lot of groups in my life. And I have to tell you, I love the way this group works. We all have diverse opinions. We all do our homework. We read the backup material. At the end of the day, we vote. And then it's over. It's not personal. Each of us are passionate in their own way. Some are for this, some are for that, some oppose this, some oppose that. But when it comes down to the city, I believe in a majority of the time, we all get together and vote in the best interest of the city. I hope this team stays together as long as I'm a commissioner. It's a pleasure working with you people.
Thank you, Vice.
Second, there is a District 3 meeting, Zoom, on December 16th at 6:30 p.m. on. It'll be a celebration of the holidays and some important information that'll be fed to the people of District 3 in the city. If you want the link, because it's a Zoom meeting, you can call Erica at 954-870-4263. Give her your email and she'll send you the link. I hope you'll tell your friends, and I hope those who are watching this at home will tune in. I'd like to see about 200 people from the district come to the meeting. It's important, giving you the information you need. And gentlemen, as far as veterans are concerned, I served before either of you were born. Probably almost before collectively you were born. It's over 65 years ago that I served, but I served. And I took the oath and I respect the flag, and I am serious about asking that it be attended to immediately. That flag is one of the most important symbols we have. So with that, have a wonderful holiday. Also, we're having a parade, a Hanukkah parade in the village by cars. We're having a car parade. And then we'll be lighting the Hanukkah candles in the parking lot of the main clubhouse. I've been asked to give the pledge and perhaps light a candle. It's an annual event that I enjoy going to. So it won't be the same as we have 400 or 500 people inside, but it'll be festive as Hanukkah always is. With that, I wish all of you a very happy holiday, and we'll see you next year, God willing. Stay safe.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. District 2?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to echo some of the things that the Vice Mayor just said, and that being centered around leadership. This COVID-19 has really affected so many lives in our country. And so many people have been hurt by it because they have lost family members. It has not always been people that are older. It has been people that has a lot have been younger, even some children, and disproportionately, people of color, Latinos, have been hurt by this. And I watch the news quite regular, and I've heard cities named of so many people dying in that city, an affected city, and I don't hear the city of Deerfield Beach. That means, to me, that the leadership was aware of the problem and took it serious. It doesn't mean that we have been unaffected by it totally, but it does mean that we care. It does mean that we look at our citizens and we're not afraid to step forward and do what we need to do to protect our citizens. And as I said, when you're watching the news and the city is being called and they're talking about so many deaths associated with that, and that problem is not getting better, it really affects you. So the mayor is right, the vice mayor is right when he talks about the leadership. And I too am especially proud to know that I'm sitting with people who care about not only the city, but the constituents and how any particular problem affects them, and whatever they can do, I am assured will be done to make sure that that strain is alleviated. I would like to say also that there's going to be a District 2 meeting on Thursday, December 3rd. We will observe social distancing. Every participant must wear a mask. I'm going to ask city staff to make sure that there are masks there that in case someone comes and don't have a mask, that we can provide that for them. Also, I would like to make my colleagues aware that I have been receiving a multitude of calls from the Praxis residents, and it kind of, is giving a picture that they're starting to fall down again on what they're supposed to be doing with our residents. And I have called staff for assistance in getting some information. They have been outstanding in doing so. And there again is an example of leadership. Those that suffer the most is getting the attention from those that are not in that situation. It becomes our responsibility to look at these things and to do all that we can to lift the spirits and to make sure that our residents are treated fairly by those that might think that we are not looking. Well, we are. And so I wanted to make you all aware that the Praxis situation is starting to reemerge. But we've been able to deal with the situation. I would like to say that County Commissioner Lamar Fisher has been instrumental in getting some information and helping out as much as he can. But it's a situation that we should start to watch. Again, happy holidays to everyone. Thank you, City Commission, for protecting our residents and being aware of those things. And it's for that reason that you don't hear there is an alarming number in the city of Deerfield Beach. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Drosky.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start by just announcing a couple District 4 related events. First, this Friday, December 4th, in the Villages of Hillsborough Park at 7:00 p.m. They'll be showing the movie Elf, perhaps one of the greatest modern Christmas movies ever made. It will be from your car, but the movie will be broadcast through AM radio. And so we expect a good turnout for that on this Friday night. Second, I'd also like to announce and remind everyone that on December 14th, Florida Atlantic University, in conjunction with the City of Deerfield Beach's Planning Department, will be holding their final webinar regarding the recommendations to the Northwest area, which is the Hillsborough Boulevard and Powerline Road intersection. There have been 2 webinars thus far. The first webinar was basically an introductory webinar by Florida Atlantic University with respect to just the geographic information with respect to that particular area of our city. And then the second webinar was, at the end of the first webinar, rather, they broke into groups and spoke to the residents and the businesses that were in attendance. And they took a lot of information. And the second webinar was reporting that information back, basically the compilation of data that they had. And the upcoming third webinar is going to be their recommendations to the city as to what type of planning that we can engage in to encourage redevelopment in the northwest area of our city. So I know I'll be looking forward to those recommendations. And to those listening or watching subsequently, it's just that, recommendations. These are graduate students from Florida Atlantic University, and like I said, in conjunction with our own planning department, that will be making recommendations to the city commission. It will be up to us later to debate those and to research them and determine if there's actually anything we want to enact. But these graduate students have taken their entire semester looking at this one corner of our city, and they have put in countless hours researching and planning and coming up with these recommendations that are forthcoming. So I think it behooves us to listen to what they propose, and then we'll decide at a later date if it's something that we can agree with or not. But that is coming up on December 14. I also would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah. I know it sounds a little odd to be doing that on December 1st, but this is our only meeting for the month of December. So I would like to wish everyone the best, stay healthy. And as Commissioner Hudak said, we're all looking forward to 2021. And, besides the obvious reasons why, the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance, and I'm going to end on this on a positive note looking forward, is that the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance, of which the city of Deerfield Beach is a member, has just compiled their 2021 source book. And what that is it's basically a market profile of Broward County and Deerfield Beach and our sister cities, and what we can expect going forward for the year 2021 and what the business climate looks like. And despite what happened in 2020, there's actually good news for 2021. And I'm only going to spend, it's a very thick manual that they have published, but I'm only going to spend a minute and just go through some of the highlights with you. The recent relocations and expansions in Broward County, of the top 22, Deerfield Beach has 2 of them. And remember, there's 31 cities in Broward County. And in fact, Deerfield Beach has 2 of the top 12. DNA Labs International came in at number 7 with their expansion, and Public Supermarkets came in at number 12 with their expansion. So we have 2 in the top 12 of all Broward County here in the city of Deerfield Beach for expansions this past year. The largest private employers in all of Broward County, again, Deerfield Beach has 2. At number 10, we have JM Family Enterprises. And at number 22, we have People's Trust Insurance. The largest Broward business parks in all of Broward County, Deerfield Beach comes in at number 9 with the Hillsborough Technology Center, with the Learning Experience, Barwis, and UPS as some of the businesses that are located over there. And then we have the largest international Latin American headquarters. Deerfield Beach comes in at number 17 with MAPE, with over 10,500 employees worldwide. But Deerfield Beach is their headquarters. So there is good news for Deerfield Beach, and there's projects coming online next year. And and I encourage you to take the time to go through it. And there's a great write-up about our individual city, but it is not all gloom and doom. There is a bright spot at the end of this, and Deerfield Beach is leading the way. And we have come a long way. And that's why we participate in the county, because our sister cities look to us instead of us looking to them. And I'd like to keep it that way going forward. Thank you. And Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I too have received phone calls regarding Praxis. Obviously, that issue and our fears that we've had from the beginning when they came before us and lied to us from these owners. All of that has come true. And I know from talking to residents that Commissioner Preston's done a great job over there in trying to get things done, and staff has been on top of it. But there is some low hanging fruit that we can, there's no excuse for what's going on over there. I know there are some things that might be out of their control. But the fact that they can't keep a lock on their pool or situations like that, simple things that should be taken care of, need to be taken care of. And hopefully we're still monitoring that situation. A suggestion for the flags, since I don't want to be in another situation sitting up here where we have to worry about the condition of our flags, if I could suggest perhaps every 6 to 8 or 12 months, whatever seems to be the right longevity for a flag, that we rotate it out. It's a small expense. We rotate them out. We do that. But the other suggestion might be with the flag, once it has been flown, is that it could possibly be donated to either the American Legion or other areas. I do know that back, at least in the 80s, when a flag was flown over Congress, that flag was retired and given to citizens with a certificate saying where it was flown, and basically as a memento. That might be something we want to consider if we rotate them out. They should be in a regular rotation. I'd much rather say that we're rotating them out too frequently than not enough. So they should never be in that condition. With the holiday decorations that are going up, it's reminded the nativity scene that was donated to the city of Deerfield Beach is located in my office. We can make sure that that goes up. The December 10th Broward MPO meeting has been canceled, according to what I just found out today. I know there is some citizens expecting to be some discussion and direction from the NPO regarding 10th Street. That meeting has been canceled. I am going to ask the NPO just for clarity, because I feel, and I asked this when we spoke to the staff of FDOT. We keep talking about a potential no build option as being a viable option that would be realistically considered in this process. I don't think that is a genuine statement anymore, and I think it gives a false sense of hope to the residents. So I'm going to ask the MPO when we talk about this to give clear direction, so we don't have citizens thinking that that's going to be a viable option, that on whether or not they would seriously consider a no build option on 10th Street. That way we can know where we're at. We will at least have people on record, and we can focus on determining which direction we want to go with the options that are there. And I think it is just being honest and straightforward with the residents. And I think that's what should occur. This year has not been easy at all. It's completely unprecedented what we've all gone through. We've all been impacted in some way by COVID. As we said before, it's extraordinary that through all of this, we are only looking at about a little over $400,000 hit when it comes to what it would take out of our reserves to cover this imbalance. That is a huge testament to the sacrifice of every city employee and the leadership that we have here, and I want to thank them. I want to thank our first responders here in the city of Deerfield Beach, both in the fire department and the police department. The Broward Sheriff's Office has done an outstanding job through all of this, and I cannot thank them enough. Each one of our city employees, your sacrifices this year will not be forgotten. We asked a lot. We knew this was going to be a difficult year. Projections were not going in the direction that we wanted, and there was a lot of concern. We tightened our belt and we did the right thing. But your sacrifices this year won't be forgotten. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your patience. This has been very trying. We've lost employees who have passed away due to COVID. We've lost former employees that passed away through COVID. And I don't think there's too many of us out there who haven't been affected in some way, whether it be people who were afflicted with it or people that we have lost due to it, myself included. I am grateful for our city staff here in the city of Deerfield Beach, and I am very grateful to serve with Todd Drosky, Michael Hudak, Ben Preston, and Bernie Parnas. This is going on 12 years that I've been doing this, and this is the most collegial body I've ever served with. Sounds like we're patting each other in the back. We're not saying we're doing a great job. I'm just saying it's a damn pleasure to serve with all of you. And it has been an honor. So I want to thank each one of you. I'm very grateful. Happy holidays. Please stay safe. We have a lot of events coming up. There's a lot of things going on. COVID is not gone. Be smart, be safe, and be kind.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I forgot to mention, if you will allow me, I forgot to mention that there's going to be a ULI, the Urban League Institute, public meeting. It's going to be on Monday, December the 7th, from 6 to 8. That's the Central City Study. And if anybody in the public want to get some information for the interested residents on the meeting information, you can go to economic development at Deerfield-beach.com, and you will be able to get that information. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Appreciate that. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye.